Welcome to the Rural Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Larson. This week we're with Maartje Murphy of Duchessa Gelato in Carrington, North Dakota. Maartje is sharing how she built her business with a premium farm fresh product, a gelato cart, and a lot of sacrifice and determination. Her gelato is now in demand across the state, and the business is expanding into the agritourism space, where they will offer gelato, gouda cheese, and other dairy products on their new farmstead. So here we go with Maartje Murphy. Okay, well, we're here with Maartje Murphy of Duchessa Gelato in Carrington, North Dakota. Maartje, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is super exciting.
Yeah. Well, you just so happened to be my first interview from North Dakota, too. So it's exciting for me on that level as well. Tell us a little bit about you and what it was like to grow up on a dairy farm.
Okay, so it's kind of a long story, but I'm originally from the Netherlands. We lived about 45 minutes from Amsterdam, and when I was 7, we moved to Alberta, Canada. So we were dairy farmers in the Netherlands. Both of my parents came from dairy farming families, and at that time they milked about 50 cows. And then they decided they wanted to expand. The Netherlands is a pretty small country, small but beautiful. We still go back a couple times a year, but they decided to go to Canada. And then we lived there for 8 years. They built a dairy farm there, and they milked about 150 cows. And then 8 years later, they thought, they wanted to expand a little bit more. And I have 2 older brothers, and they had interest in the dairy farm. So they wanted the farm to be big enough to support a couple families. So we ended up in Carrington, North Dakota. Beautiful small town. We really like it here. And we moved here in 2008. So we've been here for quite a while. We've made this our home now, but growing up in a dairy farming family, it requires, I guess, a lot of hard work and not a lot of vacations. But my parents always say, find a job that you don't need a vacation from. So it's been a very great way for me to grow up. I feel I've learned a lot of different things about agriculture and just being an entrepreneur. So yeah, I guess I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I'm not a dairy farmer myself. My brothers are the dairy farmers. My parents are the dairy farmers, and I never really truly had an interest in the farming aspect, but I've always loved dairy products. So here I am making gelato with the milk from our cows.
I love it. So you actually took some time off from the farm to go to college and pursue a career outside of the farm.
Yes, I did. So I went to UND after graduation, and I went into nursing. So I'm also a nurse. I've always wanted to be a nurse, like as a young little girl. It's the only thing I would play. So I went to nursing school, and then I graduated, and I worked in the emergency department at Sanford in Fargo. And I did that for about 2.5 years. And my husband and I bought a farmstead outside of Carrington. So we just recently moved back. I'm currently just a full-time gelatier and just making gelato. But if a flexible job opens up in Carrington, I will work as a nurse casually, because I do really like being a nurse, and I also don't want to give up my license. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for the future, but we'll see where everything takes me. I'm kind of just living in the present moment and not trying to think too far in the future.
Yeah. So at what point did the idea for gelato come into the picture?
So, like I said, we're originally from the Netherlands, so we travel back once or twice a year. Obviously, this year we're skipping our trips. But unfortunately, my 2 grandmas are still living there, and some other immediate family of ours as well. But So there's lots of gelato shops there, and we would obviously always go when we go visit. And I was sitting in one of the shops one time, and I said to my family, I said, "Oh, I would really love to do this and bring this back to North Dakota because gelato it's not really known here. It's something new." So back then they thought, "Oh no, you're crazy. You're not gonna do that." And then I remember sitting in nursing school, and I got a text from my mom, and she said, "Mother-daughter trip. There was a Gelato University immersion course in Chicago." So the school is originally in Italy, but they'll come to the USA once or twice a year to do like an immersion course, like I said. So we went to Chicago and we learned the basics of making gelato. And then we both kind of fell in love with the process. And we came back home and we thought, we should really try doing this. And then I applied for a grant through North Dakota, and I was accepted. So then I said, "Oh, there's no turning back now." So I bought equipment to start up, and then that's kind of how it started, I guess. Just had a small idea of doing it, and then my mom kind of pushed me and helped me follow my dreams. So here we are.
That's great. So, how did you start bringing the dream to life? Once you got the education, where did you start?
That's a good question. I'm like trying to think back. I guess since we use farm fresh milk from our dairy farm, we had to work with the dairy inspector just to make sure we were following all the rules and regulations. And my mom gave up her spot in the garage, and we renovated that into a little micro creamery and built a grade B facility. So in North Dakota, with a grade B facility, you can produce ice cream, gelato, and cheese. So we started there, and we got our equipment from Italy to churn the gelato. We wanted to make it as authentic as possible. So we started out that way. And then we did several different types of events. We did lots of farmers markets, lots of weddings, business meetings. And for the first 2 years, we worked probably every single weekend to get our name out there. And yeah, that's kind of where we started. I guess I said yes to anybody who would basically hire me or want to have gelato. I don't think I said no, maybe once or twice to people that were requesting it. So we sacrificed a lot, but I wouldn't want it any other way. So that's kind of how we got off our feet.
Wow. So, what year was that?
That was in 2018. So I
Okay.
think our first event was in Carrington at the end of May. And it was I just gave the gelato out for free. And that was the first time we had the cart. I guess I didn't mention that we did get a gelato cart from Italy as well. It holds 6 flavors, and then it has a cute little bike and a canopy on it, and that's what I would take to my catering events. And then in the past 2 years, we've added 2 smaller carts for smaller events, such as like graduations and smaller business meetings and things like that.
Wow. So, how did you get the word out? Did you just start contacting people and saying, "We have gelato if you're interested"? Did you put out a website?
Yeah,
It sounds
so
like it was very popular very quickly. So,
yeah, I think I have a Facebook and an Instagram page, and then a website as well. And I guess I was pretty particular on some of the pictures that I took of the gelato. I obviously wanted everything to be perfect, even though things don't have to be perfect. Sometimes my husband and my mom says I'm way too picky when it comes to that, but I really wanted to start off like really well. I wanted people to really enjoy looking at the gelato pictures, but I think a lot of it is the weddings that we did. We traveled all throughout the state of North Dakota, so usually weddings have about 250 to 300 people here. So at every single wedding, it would be all new people to see our cart and Duchessa Gelato. So I think a lot of it was just that type of exposure, and then word of mouth. People that tried it loved it, and then they told their family, and I think that's kind of where it grew. My parents are, like I said, also dairy farmers. My mom has a Vambadaff dairy page, and she kind of posts educational things about dairy farming on there. So she already had quite a bit of following on there. So yeah, I think if I had to guess, it's probably a little bit of all of that together.
Sure. So how have you expanded it beyond those events that you were doing in the first year?
Yeah, so right now we are doing monthly deliveries. So we deliver to several cities in North Dakota. So we sell them by pints. So people can order, usually in the beginning of the month, I'll open the order on our website, and people can order ahead of time, and then they pick up their city, or they pick the city that they want it to deliver to, and then they pick their gelato, and then I'll churn, and then I'll deliver it to, say, Fargo 1 week, and I'll do Carrington and Jamestown the next. So right now we do a lot of deliveries, especially with COVID-19. A lot of weddings have been postponed or canceled, so this was another way for us to continue doing business. But we are also adding another business. We're actually expanding into Cows & Co. Creamery, so that's going to be like the mother company of Duchessa Gelato, and we're going to start making gouda cheese. Since I'm from the Netherlands, we thought it'd be fun to add that to the menu.
So fun. I love it.
Yeah.
So is this something you can find in a grocery store?
The gelato right now, it's all me to the consumer. So it's truly farm to table. I had thought about putting it in the grocery store, but gelato is truly meant to be eaten fresh. So I tell my customers I'd like it to be eaten within 3 days. Gelato is still tastes good 6 months in the deep freeze if you keep it in the deep freezer. However, if you really want the authentic and true Italian experience, gelato should be eaten as soon as it is made. And I feared that putting the gelato in the grocery store, that it would sit in the cooler for many, many days, or many, many weeks, or many, many months. And I didn't really want that to happen. I wanted to keep my product premium. So I think my gelato, I want to keep small scale. And I think when we start making Gouda cheese, I would like to put that in the grocery store if it ever gets to that point.
Talk about some of the flavors you offer. Is it true that you have over 100 different flavors?
Yes, yeah, we do try. We've probably hit over 100, but the main flavors: vanilla bean, Dutch chocolate, pistachio, hazelnut, stracciatella. That's like it's a sweet cream base with chocolate flakes. That's very typical Italian. And then gianduja, which is a dark chocolate hazelnut, one of my favorites. Cookies and cream. Everybody loves cookies and cream. A popular one is salted butter caramel. That's really been a hit. We started doing that one right away, and everybody loved it. So that's always one that comes back. We also do sorbetos, and those are water-based. So we've done like a raspberry basil, or just a plain strawberry, or pineapple mango. It's kind of cool with gelato. Your flavor choices are kind of unlimited. You can basically make anything. We've made an avocado basil before, and it sounds really weird, but it is so, so good. And an Amarena cherry yogurt. So we add a little bit of yogurt in our gelato base, and then we swirl wild Amarena cherries, and those are grown in Italy, actually. So I think a lot of it's people around North Dakota, they kind of stick with their vanilla and their chocolate, I've noticed. When we go to Fargo, there's obviously quite a bit more people that live there, and they're more into the pistachio and kind of the different flavors, I should say. But once people try the different flavors, they really like them. So we try to throw in as many different ones in our orders as possible to get people to taste different kinds.
So fun. So do you do custom flavors if people ask for it?
Yes, yep. So usually for weddings, how it works, like if somebody books the Duchess cart, so that's our big cart, it comes with 6 flavors. I'll give them like a list that they could choose from, but I also give them the freedom to come up with their own flavors if they like, and then they can give me ideas, and then I'll test the flavor, and then if it works, I let them know. And I haven't had any requests that haven't been successful, so I just usually add their special flavors to their menu for the weddings.
I love that. So
Yeah.
you can order all of these custom through the website, right?
Yeah, so it's like every month we do about 8 to 10 different flavors, and we try to change it up every month. And then people can order ahead of time, but the order is only open for about a week, because then it'll be closed, and then I'll churn for the monthly orders, if that makes sense. So it's not something that's just open at all times and you can order whenever, because right now with the delivery and stuff, it has to be closed at a certain amount, because I need time to prepare. But in the future, when we have our on-farm store, we'll always have gelato available in Carrington for people to come pick up whenever. And if people are traveling from Fargo or Bismarck to visit the creamery, they will always be able to get gelato there. But since we're mobile right now, this is the system that we have set up.
Perfect. Tell us more about this new farm that you have and your plans for it, because it sounds really fun.
Yeah, we're very, very excited. So it's actually an old dairy farmstead, I should say. The couple that lived there with their family, they were dairy farmers as well. So it's got a very, very rich history, and the family is very enthused about their history, and they are very involved still now that we've bought the place. But it's a few miles from the dairy farm. We live really close to both of our families, my husband and I. But we purchased this farmstead this year, and we are going to renovate. There's an old pole barn there. It's a 50 by 80. And we are going to renovate that into the creamery, and it's going to be Cows & Co. Creamery. So everything that I am doing at my parents' house right now in their garage is going to get transferred over there. And then so there will be a gelato and a cheese processing room. And then we'll also have an aging room for the Gouda cheese, because it'll age on the pine planks. And then we'll also have a little bistro area where people can come and have a cup of coffee and some gelato and some cheese. And it'll probably be a small menu. I haven't quite decided what we want to put on that menu, but we will try to tie some of our Dutch roots into the menu so people can see what some popular food items are there. And then it has a really cute old dairy barn on the farmstead. It's really just an adorable place. Of course, now that it's mine, I think it's like the best place ever. But it's really private. It's got a small farmhouse on it. Eventually, we'll have a little pasture with some animals. So when people come, say from Fargo, they can make it a day trip with their family and see how the gelato and the cheese is made, and then have a little treat and see the animals, and then also head to the dairy farm and see how we milk our cows. So I kind of want it to be a little tourist agricultural education place, and then just a fun place for a family or some girlfriends or whoever to come visit.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Hopefully all these dreams, because right now the creamery, most of it's still a dirt floor, and the plumbing is done for the most part, and the concrete guys coming in. So it's very slow moving, but that's okay. It'll just make it so much better when it's all finished in the end.
Yes, that's very exciting. Well, what advice would you have for someone who has an idea like you did that they want to bring to life?
I think the biggest thing is for me was my support system, my family, and my husband. Everybody's been like cheering me on from the start and helping me in any way that they can. So starting off with a good cheer squad, I guess, would be the biggest thing. And then finding mentors who are doing something similar than what you would like to do. There was a lot of gelato shops in the Netherlands that were willing to share information and willing to help me start off with my business. And then looking for grants in the town or the city or the state that you live in that they offer to help you get off your feet. There's lots of small business grants out there. They take a little bit of time and preparation, but I think it's all worth it. Yeah, and then I guess it takes a lot of also hard work and sacrifice. Looking back, I missed a lot of things, and I worked a lot of weekends and some holidays, but I wouldn't want it any other way. When I'm working the weekends or when it's Friday, I don't think, oh, it's the weekend. My days are kind of all the same now. And I feel like when I was a nurse, it was more like, oh yes, it's the weekend. We get to go and do something fun. But now I feel like with this business, my life is just constant fun, and I get to be with my family a lot. So I'm kind of rambling on to very different things, but I guess, yeah, finding a mentor would be the biggest thing.
That's great advice. And what particular grant did you get, just in case anybody's interested in that?
Yeah, so North Dakota has a grant. It's called APUC, and it's mainly for agricultural business. So they will help pay for like marketing. They will help pay for feasibility studies, like I said, marketing and things like that. And I'm not sure if APUC is in other states, but it may be something for, I don't know. North Dakota has it. It's like through the Ag Commission or the Ag Department, the Ag Commissioner. So I'm not sure if other states have it as well, but North Dakota does.
Okay, perfect. And I think, Google search can show you a lot. There's probably something similar in other states too.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Well, you mentioned a little bit about your community of Carrington, but tell us more about that. What do you love about living here, and how has the community embraced you and your family?
Yeah, I think Carrington has been absolutely amazing for myself as Duchessa Gelato and Cows and Co Creamery, but also Vambadaff Dairy, our dairy farm. We host an open house every other summer, and it is amazing all the people that come and support my parents and my brothers and myself as well. It's I With our gelato orders, Carrington it's always the biggest order, and with such a small town, it's about 2,500 people with the surrounding homes, but small community. But man, it's Carrington pretty powerful. It's just a really nice, well taken care of town. We have a hospital, and we have actually a brand new elementary school now that's connected to our high school. A beautiful park. We have beautiful flowers. They're trying to keep Main Street up and running with the old business. It's truly an amazing town. Going into our small grocery store and knowing almost everybody and always seeing a smiling face, and it's just a very welcoming and warming community. We had thought about doing Cows and Co Creamery outside of Fargo, just because of the population. There's more people that would be, right at our doorstep. And I love Fargo, nothing against Fargo, but there was just something that was tugging me back to the small town life, and being back now and sitting at our farmstead and not hearing a whisper. It's truly the best place on earth is a small town. And I do come from a small town. I've always lived in a small town, so that may make a difference. But I recommend it to everybody and anybody to live the small town life.
I love it. Well, how do we follow along with everything you have going on and all these upcoming projects?
Yeah, so we have, like I said, a Facebook page, Duchessa Gelato, and then we have an Instagram page, Duchessa Gelato, and we also have a Cows and Co Creamery Instagram page. As soon as our creamery is open and up and running, our Facebook page will probably be changed to Cows and Co Creamery, since that'll kind of be the head, and Duchessa Gelato will just be underneath that. So yeah, you can follow us along on social media, and then also on our website for more information. A lot of our catering information and prices are listed there, and people are always welcome to call me. I think my phone number is listed on the website and my social media pages as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, I can't wait to come visit and watch as you bring all of these new things to life. It just sounds so much fun. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate everything that you do.
Well, don't you just love this fun business that Maartje has built? I can't wait to see her plans come to life on the new farmstead, and I have a feeling this is only just the beginning for her. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the links and to follow along. I trust you're super inspired from today's episode and probably have a handful of people you know who would love to hear it. So go ahead and text them the link and leave us a kind review while you're at it so we can keep on spreading the Rural Revival message far and wide. And stay tuned in with us on Instagram and Facebook at Rural Revival Co. to keep updated on this podcast and all things Rural Revival related. And we'll catch you next time on the Rural Revival Podcast. Have a great day, everybody.